and Pierce.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to another Ned and Pierce show on this slightly chilly Saturday.
Yeah, very cold. It was really cold this morning. I think
It has
has 7 degrees when I was going up to your place.
It has definitely been getting colder.
Yeah, it's very overcast as well.
Yeah, since our last show, not a lot has happened. It has once again come and gone without snowing in Stanthorpe. And they were so confident this time.
Yeah, exactly. I reckon next time it's going to happen. There's no way it won't snow next year.
You know the legend around this. Every time they predict snow, it doesn't happen.
Yeah, and until the day that they don't predict snow, and then it snows.
Yeah, and I think that was the last time it did snow. Was the one time I heard everyone saying it's not going to snow.
It's not going to happen.
It's not happening this year.
Yeah.
And then it did. So if we all just stop predicting the snow, then maybe it might
actually snow.
Yes.
Hey, Paul had to leave early. He did something to his back that he reckons.
He's got a little bit of a back problem. Hope he feels better.
Yeah, so I hope he's relaxing.
Yes.
Did anything else interesting happen to you during the week, Ned?
Not a lot. I'd say it's been a pretty average fortnight.
I found out, how Neil Armstrong has his famous quote, like one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Completely unforgettable.
Yeah. Buzz Aldrin also had a quote that nobody cares about. He stepped out, a few seconds after Neil and was like, magnificent desolation. And no one seems to
remember that.
He wrote a book about it too.
No one remembered his quote.
Didn't catch on.
Neil Armstrong took all the fame from that simply because he stepped out of the lander first.
I mean, magnificent. Yeah, poor old Buzz Aldrin. He was probably sitting in the shuttle, waiting for that moment, that big moment.
Seems like a bit of a glory hog.
This is going to be quoted through history.
He was probably thinking of that one the whole way up there, trying to think, what will I say
cool
when I get
desolation?
Out?
Magnificent desolation.
That's it.
That's the one, Neil.
Well, apart from that, I think it's been a pretty, as I said, average fortnight. So let's get straight into the show. What have we got first, Pierce?
This is AC/DC, Backy and Black, and what's happening during the show, Ned?
We've got odd news, odd occurrence, plenty more, including a little thing Pierce is working on right now that we will get to see later.
Yeah, you're wasting time watching a TV show whilst trying to... Anyway, AC/DC, Rose City FM, 89.3. Aha, the sun always shines on TV, and it's not shining today.
Yes, of course. Now, if you remember back to the last show, we discussed the intricacies of the tuck shop mafia that we believe to be brewing under our very noses at our school.
I did actually, we were joking about it being a mafia thing. I kind of experienced a couple of odd things happening to me during the week, and during the 2 weeks. I got a couple of weird phone calls. Did you?
Interesting. No, I didn't receive any.
Well, I managed to call, record them because I like to record blocked numbers just in case it's something funny. But this is the first one I got. Hello?
Pierce, we know you've been snooping around in the tuck shop mafia conspiracy, and we advise you to go no further, or else your beloved chicken Caesar wraps might disappear from the tuck shop fridge. We wouldn't want that to happen, would we, Pierce?
No.
Absolutely not. There will be no further communication.
Obviously, I was a bit rattled.
Yeah, no, that would rattle anyone. I mean, the deep voice alone is quite scary.
Yeah, and this fella, he said, no further communication. But he did call again.
This is that one too?
Yeah. Hello?
Yes, we know you have continued to search into the tuck shop mafia conspiracy. The chicken wraps have now been downgraded in quality, with less chicken and less bacon included.
You guys already did that. I haven't actually been looking into the tuck shop. There's nothing else has happened.
Any further inquiry, and we will remove them entirely. You have been warned.
I think you forgot to hang up.
Now it seems that this mysterious man seems to have forgotten to hang up his phone at the end.
He was too happy with how creepy he sounded. Yes, and then one more phone call I did get, and
let's take a listen.
Hello?
This is a routine checkup. Have you been continuing to search into the tuck shop mafia conspiracy?
Oh, like I said last time, nothing else has happened. There's nothing else to look into.
Good. Within due time, the chicken wraps will be restored to their full glory if you continue to cooperate. There will be no further communication.
Wait. What are you doing today? I did try to establish a friendship with this guy after that, but he
of course,
did
as
not
anyone
bite.
would.
Yeah. He didn't bite.
Wow, an interesting series of events that kind of maybe points to a tuck shop mafia conspiracy. I guess we'll have to see what happens within the next fortnight.
Yeah.
Now it's up to the viewer to determine. Are the phone calls real? I guess. It's all up to you.
Radio like you've never heard it before. In fact, this is worse than you've ever heard it before. This is Ned and Pierce.
Welcome back to Ned and Pierce's Odd News from around the globe. I'm your co-host Ned.
And I am Pierce.
And for our first story tonight, in a slightly disgusting turn of events, explosive diarrhea has caused NBC's Ultimate Slip and Slide to close down. Now, Pierce, I think saying the words slip and slide and explosive diarrhea in the same sentence is pretty self-explanatory as to what took place.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
I guess crap hit the fan.
Yeah, maybe we could say that.
All right, so once again, Florida police have been called to yet another alligator-related incident. And Ned, you know how you're like looking around for these stories on the internet and stuff? I feel like there's always a Florida story and alligators.
Yeah, a lot of stuff happens in Florida.
With alligators, particularly.
Yeah, particularly with alligators.
This time, an alligator who shall remain nameless at this point, found to be hiding under a vending machine at a gas station in Polk City. The alligator was extracted by 3 deputies and refused to give any statements regarding its unusual behaviour.
A man wins big after skipping his niece's wedding to attend a Las Vegas poker tourney. Harlan Miller won $367,800, claiming he had a really strong feeling about this certain tourney. And he claims that he will use the money to buy his niece a nice wedding present. So it all works out well in the end.
Okay, so firefighters were called to a home in Nevada to conduct an unusual rescue. A teenage girl had locked herself out of her house, and in an attempt to get back in, she decided to climb down the chimney. The 18-year-old soon found out that it was a very bad idea when she became stuck. The girl was not injured, however, any hopes and dreams of becoming the next Kris Kringle were shattered.
Now, an interesting story, and I've just realised I really need to write these stories down in better handwriting. But funnily enough, my next story is also to do with someone stuck in a large tube. A man has been rescued after 2 days stuck inside of a giant fan in a California vineyard. The man was trying to take a picture of the engine, which was a pastime of his, when he became stuck. He's in a stable condition and will make a full recovery. You can say that after his story, this man will have some big fans.
I think anyone that has a hobby of taking pictures of engines
is bound to get stuck somewhere one day. I thought it's a massive coincidence that we managed to have 2 stuck in large tubes related stories on one show.
And in 2019, a group of scientists and distillers developed a bold new type of booze. Atomic is the alcoholic spirit made from ingredients grown in the Chernobyl nuclear power plant's still radioactive exclusion zone. And now, the first batch is finally complete. And all 1,500 bottles have been seized by Ukrainian secret services for unknown reasons, according to a statement by the 3-legged manufacturer in charge of the project.
Wow. Some interesting stories there, but unfortunately that is the end of our odd news for today. Make sure to stay tuned. We've got plenty of great talk and good music to come, starting up next with Avicii and Wyclef Jean's Sorrow. I'm very sorry, I meant Alive. And a different song by Avicii and Wyclef Jean.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the hottest radio game show. I'm your host, Pierce. Now, my buddy Ned has a very messy room, so I want to know, does he actually have any idea of what's in there? Probably not. The rules are simple. I take one item from Ned's room, and with the occasional hint from me, Ned gets 3 guesses to figure out what that item is, and if he doesn't, well, it's mine. So without further ado, it's time to find out what did Pierce steal from Ned's room?
That's right, it is the game show that we all know and love. What did Pierce steal from Ned's room?
It's my least favourite part of the fortnight.
And I still need to change that intro because it doesn't reflect what we actually do.
Yeah, also it refers to me as your buddy, as if I'm not your co-host.
I'll note those changes down.
Let's get on with the show, Pierce.
All right, Ned.
My first clue.
Your first clue. This is actually very useful to you. You wouldn't be able to... Oh, this might give it away straight away. You wouldn't be able to get around without it.
Hold on. You haven't stolen my car keys, have you? That wouldn't matter. No, I've got them right here.
Yeah, because I wandered into your room to steal it.
I wouldn't be able to get around without it. I don't know. I can get around pretty easily.
So,
clue number 2, please.
Clue number 2. It's yellow.
It's yellow, and I wouldn't be able to get around with it without it. I know. I don't own many yellow items. That's the problem. I guess that could help, though. It doesn't.
Yeah, exactly. It does narrow it down quite a bit.
So this was something from my shelf, and it's yellow, and I wouldn't be able to get around without it.
Yeah.
I think I might need another clue.
All right. If you don't get it, I get to read out a bunch of information that this item has on it, and you wouldn't like it to be read out on air.
Well, this puts a lot more pressure on it now, Pierce. Something I won't be able to get around without. It's not a book, is it? So it's got writing in it.
Yeah.
So it could be a book. I don't think I have any yellow journals or old journals or anything lying around.
No.
It's not like a travel guide, is it?
No.
No. Why would I not know what that was?
And it doesn't prohibit you from getting around.
Is it some kind of sign that I have made? Is it something that I've made?
No, I wouldn't. No, it's not something that you've made.
So you wouldn't. I wouldn't want it to be read out. Is it something about me?
Yes. Yeah, it's 100% about you.
It's not like a doctor's prescription.
No. All right, I'm going to give you one more guess.
Okay. You can't give me one more hint, can you?
Damn. Well, I've the other side of it's grey.
The other side. Oh, okay. So you're running out of hints a bit.
Yeah,
here.
I am.
Oh no! I have no idea. It's not like a travel tag or something, is it? From my or a driver's license. Is it my old driver's license, Pierce?
It is your old driver's license.
Oh my god!
Ned. This will prohibit you from driving around with your L plates on.
Oh, well, you didn't think the backside of it being grey would give that much of a hint, but that was that's
what did it. Yeah, it happens to have Ned's obviously driver's license number on it. It also has his address, his sex, if anyone's confused about that, his age.
Yes, all things I wouldn't want to be read out on air.
No, of course not.
No, well, I guess I get to keep my L-plate driver's license.
I also noticed on your shelf my 2 DVDs of our favourite show, Psych,
finally,
which you have not given back. So
I've been meaning to return those for the last year or so.
I'm just taking those back.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
I'll give you that one.
Yeah, all right. So coming up later in the show, Ned's odd occurrence from around the globe. Very interesting. This thing disappeared like 3 times in a row.
3-time disappearing boat, yes.
Very nice.
This is Ned and Pierce.
That was scary.
Ned's odd occurrences from around the world.
I smell a mystery.
It's a mystery.
Welcome back to Ned's Odd Occurrences from around the globe. Now, Pierce, I've mentioned to you that I'm quite excited to tell you this one because it is pretty cool.
We can finally get that hat trick of yours as well.
Yeah, get that hat trick on 3 maritime mysteries because today we look at the maritime mystery of El Fausto, the ship that disappeared thrice. On July 20th, 1968, the El Fausto left the island of Tazacorte on a routine trip to the island of El Hierro, which was nearby, crewed by 3 experienced fishermen. Now, I'm sorry if I don't say these names correctly, but we've got Rafael Acosta and Ramon Miguel and Aliberto Hernandez. As the ship was about to...
Was that 2 people or 3?
That was 3 people. They were all related.
Oh, okay.
As the ship was about to leave El Hierro, the men were approached by Julio Guerra, who lived on Tazacorte, and asked for a ride back to visit his sick daughter. The men of the El Fausto agreed. The men were expected to arrive at 10 a.m. the next day, but never arrived. Search efforts were launched, but nothing was found for several days. But on July 25th, 5 days after the boat's disappearance, the Duchess, a Dutch ship, funnily enough, found the El Fausto, which had deviated far from its course, with all of the men still alive and well. They asked for food and fuel and said there were no issues with their vessel. When the Duchess offered to tow the ship, the El Fausto refused. The Duchess gave the men ample supplies and sent a message that the men were heading in the right direction. It was estimated that they would arrive at Tazacorte at 7 p.m, but again never arrived. The El Fausto had disappeared again. Yeah, and I thought it was funny that the Dutch ship was named the Duchess.
Yeah. I caught on a little too late to that one.
That's okay, Pierce. But there we go. That's the second disappearance.
Yeah.
And you've got any thoughts on the case so far?
My reaction so far is that it obviously has something to do with the guy who was just going back to see his sister, and I'm saying that with quotation.
It was his sick daughter, but yeah, no, that's one of the obvious theories that people think he was caught up in some way.
Yeah.
But let's look at the next. This might actually change your mind on this. Let's look at the next series of events. On October 9th, several months after the second disappearance, an Italian ship called the Anna Di Maio found the ship floating on a shore off an island near Venezuela. The ship contained no signs of struggle or violence. There was no signs of the crew, and in a compartment in the bow of the ship, they found Julio's body and his journal. Julio's journal had 28 pages torn out and otherwise contained numbers and several other things of no importance, such as to-do lists. The Anna Di Maio offered to tow the ship back to Tazacorte, but arrived without it as the El Fausto had disappeared again.
While they were towing it.
En route, during the night, the ship had sunken bow first into the ocean and been lost to the waves forever, taking the mystery with it.
So, I mean, it means it disappeared 4 times.
Well, it disappeared the first time when it went... it was originally going back to Tazacorte. Disappeared the second time when it was going back to Tazacorte.
Oh, yeah, and this was the third time.
Disappearance was when it sunk.
And they actually know where it went that time.
Well, kind of, but, it's at the bottom of the ocean.
Right.
I mentioned that the last disappearance wasn't, exactly a disappearance, but I like to counter that there, because saying ship that disappeared 3 times...
It technically did disappear, just everyone knows where it is.
Yeah.
Or the general whereabouts.
Unfortunately, they left Julio's body on the ship, so any evidence was kind of dragged under sea with it.
Julio wasn't one of the brothers.
Julio was the guy who was going back to see his sick daughter.
And there was pages torn out of his journal?
28 pages were torn out of his journal at the end.
Would have been some incriminating evidence in
basically,
that. When was this again, I gotta ask?
This was in 1968.
Okay.
But basically, so the pages that were torn out of the journal... So it was basically a normal journal, to-do lists, and then it was navigations and stuff for a ship. And then at the end, it started, I think, as a goodbye note to his wife, where it was like, goodbye, don't tell my daughter what happened. And the details of what happened were the 28 pages that were torn out of the journal.
Oh.
Yeah, there was no sign of the crew as well anywhere. They had just vanished.
Yeah.
This was kind of like and it seems to be common in these boat disappearances where the ship is just left untouched.
Yes. Yeah.
All the other people. There was no signs of violence or anything.
Did that happen to all of the other boats in the other stories as well?
Well, the other stories we have, there was no signs of violence or anything like that. Or
do they have any
disruption?
Educated theories of what happened to the 3 men?
Not really. They might have jumped ship. They might have run away. They were never seen again, though. They never resurfaced anywhere.
Right.
So, yeah.
It's kind of annoying. I hate how they don't get wrapped up.
Yeah. That's why they're odd occurrences. They're,
They can still be odd occurrences, not unsolved mysteries or anything.
I guess so, but I reckon they're not as cool. The unsolved has a bit of an allure to me,
Yeah.
In the end, it is impossible to know what happened aboard the El Fausto. Was foul play involved? We may never know, and unless some new piece of evidence is discovered, we never will.
This is Ned and Pierce. Radio like you've never heard it before. In fact, this is worse than you've ever heard it before. This is Ned and Pierce.
One Direction, One Thing, and of Monsters and Men, Little Talk, so you just heard.
Yes, and a couple of things that caught my train of thought as in the last week, Pierce, was that it is pretty much 1 year anniversary since the Pentagon released 3 UFO videos.
Yeah.
And as soon as people knew that aliens were a thing, they became way more boring.
Yeah, and everyone just gave up like, oh, okay. All your mad scientist conspiracy people having type of guys, they took off their alfoil hats and just like thought, oh, okay.
I guess we have to go theorize about something else,
Yeah.
such as they moved on to the rigged election, I
Oh,
believe,
okay.
after that. But yes, before that, it was all about aliens. And I remember the only mention I saw while I was scrolling through the internet was just people saying, why aren't people talking about the aliens?
It's because now we know they exist, or we've seen proof of UFOs. We've just given up.
It's not technically aliens to say. They're just
it's
videos
not proof
of
aliens. They're
videos of things that they didn't know what they were.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah, they were three videos of basically just little dots and running across the screen.
Yeah, and that's what probably a fly in the camera or something like that.
Yeah, and I think they're going to release something else this month, aren't they, Pierce?
I saw something like that.
I saw an article saying the Pentagon is going to release some new alien finding or something, and people are all being like, why aren't we talking more about this thing?
Now the Pentagon's feeling sad because they're not generating hype anymore. No one's conspiracy theorizing about them.
If they had released this back in the 60s, people would be freaking out. Back then it was Alien-a-Palooza. But now it seems to just have gotten boring.
And actually, when we were looking for our news this morning, I saw things about some cicadas. Like every now and then I'd see an article that says cicadas are back. So cicadas may have caused this car crash.
Some big looming threat over the human populace.
I saw something else about cicadas and Joe Biden. It got me, quotation marks, Joe Biden swats away cicada as he boards Air Force One.
I never thought that cicadas were such a big thing, but you say you've seen multiples of these.
In our Odd News website, so we usually check out, there was a couple about cicadas.
Yeah, that's very weird. I never would have pointed out cicadas as such a big threat, but I guess they must be.
Another quote from Joe Biden: "Watch out for the cicadas." Biden warns ahead of Europe trip.
Oh no!
This is Ned and Pierce.
Unfortunately, that brings us to the end of our show.
Yeah, I never did figure out who was making those mysterious mafia-style phone calls to me.
And at the end of the day, we might never know.
Yeah.
And I managed to come true on my promise of a hat trick for 3 maritime mysteries.
Yeah, finally, with like a couple in between. So, I don't know about that. And aliens are no longer at the top of everyone's worries.
Yes.
It's cicadas now.
Cicadas now.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that's it from us, Warwick. Peter will be taking you through to 6. He has a great drive time show every Saturday, and I guess that's it. We'll see you in a fortnight.
Radio like you've never heard it before. In fact, this is worse than you've ever heard it before. This is Ned and Pierce.